This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Hello. Two powerful suicide car bombs have left at least 20 people dead in the Pakistani city of Lahore. One of them was aimed at a building housing the federal police. The other exploded outside an advertising agency in a residential neighbourhood. Imran Khan reports.
This is an attack at the heart of Pakistan's security service. The Federal Investigation Agency is the equivalent of the US's FBI and would undoubtedly have been the target of the attack. This is what the building looked like just hours earlier. Now it's completely destroyed, and the casualties will be high. There were two attacks, one in a residential area called Model Town. A pickup truck laden with explosives with two people on board was responsible for this devastation. That occurred very near the offices of the Pakistan People's Party, who are forming the next Pakistani government after winning elections in February. The other, also now confirmed to be a car bomb, was aimed at the security service complex. The blasts are said to have occurred just 10 seconds apart. A senior police officer at the scene tells us what happened and confirms that they were suicide bombings.
A vehicle full of explosive forced its way into FIA headquarters, and it exploded near the main building.
Emergency rescue efforts are now underway, and bodies are still being pulled from the rubble. The huge crater left behind by one of the bombings is now the focus of the investigation. Inspectors pick through the mess left behind, looking for clues. The streets of Lahore would have been packed with commuters making their way to work, as well as traffic jams. Whole families are now wondering what has happened to their loved ones. The grief self-evident. The blasts have created havoc, and at the hospital, many of the injured will now be asking who is responsible. Imran Khan, Al Jazeera.
Our correspondent in Pakistan, Kamal Haider, says the government security agency building was a high-profile target.
Big questions are being asked, particularly because the Federal Investigation Agency had made key arrests, and that too in the case of the attacks on the High Court and again on the Naval War College, both very high security areas, the Naval War College being a sensitive military area. So a number of arrests had been made. Now it appears, according to the reports that we are getting, that the intended target was the FIA, because the FIA was in custody of key people who were arrested, and therefore the intended target was the FIA. That has emerged quite clear now.
أعلن مصدر مسؤول في وزارة الداخلية السعودية لقناة العربية أن جهات التحقيق.
An official from the Saudi Interior Ministry told Al-Arabiya channel that investigations have revealed the names of people who were contacted with the recoded message of the second man in Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri. The official said that the confessions of those who were arrested revealed the names of individuals who refused to cooperate with the message providers and with those who provided them with money. The Interior Ministry called on whoever listened to the recorded message, which was found in the possession of one of the Al-Qaeda leaders in Saudi Arabia, to quickly report the authorities and clarify their positions, stressing that a large arrest campaign will be launched on Sunday and that it will include all the implicated names.
48 hours have passed since the Saudi Interior Ministry announced a deadline for those who listened to the recorded message of the second man in Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri. But according to the Interior Ministry, no one has come forward so far. The ministry said that it has the names of all the involved individuals and that it wants to give them an opportunity to make the first initiative. According to the Interior Ministry, al-Zawahiri recorded message, which was found with one of the Al-Qaeda leaders leaders detained in the holy city of Mecca was an attempt by the organization to collect funds so it can resume its activities inside Saudi Arabia. The Interior Ministry also said that the Al-Qaeda members tried to mislead citizens, claiming that they are collecting funds to help Muslims.
The ones who are promoting this recorded message are trusted brothers. Please donate whatever money you can to Pakistan and Afghanistan.
The Saudi Interior Ministry gave its citizens 1 week starting from last Sunday to notify authorities if they have listened to the recorded message. The deadline will end this Sunday. The Interior Ministry vowed it will not question or punish whoever comes forward. It also promised to provide financial rewards to whoever comes forward with additional information pertaining to Al-Zawahiri's message. These security efforts are exerted to prevent the threat of Al-Qaeda while giving a chance for whoever wants to change their mind about this organization and its members. Khalid Uwais, Al-Arabiya.
A number of homes in the industrial part of Fallujah were transformed into car repair shops, thus adding to the suffering of the residents there. More details with Abdel Qadar Al-Sadi.
The owner of car repair shops and workshops in the industrial part of Fallujah have suffered the consequences of cement barriers and checkpoints. Whoever enters this neighborhood undergoes detailed search because many armed operations took place there. This has forced many owners to close down their shops.
More than 70% of the cars that used to come to my car repair shop used to come from different areas in Fallujah. They used to come from the western areas like Ramadi and Baghdad and its outskirts. However, because the roads were closed off, car owners stopped going there.
The industrial area of Fallujah used to provide a source of income for thousands of families. The shop owners in Fallujah, which is located at an intersection, used to depend on cars coming from areas outside the city. Now these areas are under the control of American forces, which compelled the police in Fallujah to demand that at least one road to the industrial area be reopened.
We suggested to the American forces and City Council of Fallujah to reopen an exit to the freeway, but the Americans put obstacles in our way. They told us that if a road is opened, then they will need to increase the number of deployed soldiers and police in the area.
Mawlud was forced to transform his residential home into a car repair shop. His sons, who stopped going to school, work with him. Mawlud was forced to take this step because car owners stopped going to the industrial part of Fallujah to get their cars fixed there after cement barriers were placed around it.
We are forced to work here to make a living. The industrial area was no longer accessible to car owners. Whoever goes there is searched and asked many questions. Where were you going to the industrial area? And why are you going there? And so on. People stopped taking their cars to the industrial area, and we are forced to fix cars in our homes. Look around, we have transformed our homes into car repair shops.
The Iraqi government had promised shop owners in the industrial area with compensation for the destruction of their properties and equipment during the 2004 battles, but they are still waiting. From Al-Fallujah, Abdul Qadir Saadi, Al-Arabiya.
The Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt unveiled its agenda for participation in the local elections, which are scheduled for April. It consists of 4 slogans, none of which include its traditional slogan, "Islam is the solution." It appears that the Brotherhood chose these this year in order to focus on tangible aspects of Egyptians' lives, with one of their slogans, "Together to end high prices." Details with Randa Abul Azim from Cairo.
6 loaves for £2? Is this right or wrong? 6 loaves for £2? Is this right or wrong? Look, is this worth £2? There is no God but God.
What can I do for you? It is expensive for you and for us too.
وهذه الشكوى من ارتفاع الأسعار وارتفاع سعر الخبز أصبحت أحد السمات الأساسية.
This debate and complaint about the rise in the prices and the cost of bread has become a common scene in the Egyptian street. According to official surveys, the consumer price index has increased to 10.5% in the current year, compared to 6.9% last year. The rise rise in prices is also affected by a 50% increase in rents over the past 10 years. Amidst this troubling increase in prices and the complaints by Egyptian citizens, the slogan "No to High Prices" has spread. The Muslim Brotherhood has recently used this slogan in the local elections, which will be held on April 8th, as one of the slogans that is being substituted for their original slogan, "Islam is the solution." One of the reasons behind the Brotherhood abandoning their original slogan is the latest constitutional amendments, which prohibit the use of religious slogans.
In the local elections, the Muslim Brotherhood, while maintaining their main slogan, decided to use slogans that suit the local atmosphere and the social and political conditions of Egyptian citizens. They are "Together for the sake of reform," "We only want reform," "Together to combat corruption," "Together to end high prices," "Together for clean environment," and "Together for balanced development."
Some analysts say that the new slogans being used by the Brotherhood are not less popular than their religious slogans, which will not be publicized in these elections. All these slogans are being used in order to achieve election gains.
This slogan is a type of bargaining and nothing less. They lack a clear and specific solution. I challenge the Muslim Brotherhood to present any ideas about controlling the rise in prices, which are due to global causes, or if they have any alternative solutions to the present reality.
The local elections take place every 4 years and have been postponed since 2006 due to amendments to the local laws, which have not yet been changed. Although the Brotherhood questions the fairness of these elections even before they have begun, it has decided to compete for nearly 10% of the seats. Currently, the competition is on between the parties and the opposition forces, with the Muslim Brotherhood leading the battle, which is raising the slogan, "No to High Prices." This slogan is gaining popularity to those who raise it, regardless of whether the slogan can or cannot be achieved. Rand Abu Al-Azma, Al-Arabiya, Cairo.
Islamic Revolution leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei says the world of Islam can turn into a world power if Muslims remain united to achieve more scientific, economic, cultural and political gains. The leader told visiting Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono that the issue number one for Iran is more ties with Islamic nations, which are home to the bulk of world's population, wealth and strategic lands. Ayatollah Khamenei added countries will be pushed backwards if they give way to bullying of the colonial powers. The leader said Indonesia's decision to part company with its fellow UN Security Council members while deciding on Iran was a sober move which has lent more credence to the Muslim nation. On Palestine, Ayatollah Khamenei said the Palestinian resistance proved the nation's dynamism, adding the world of Islam needs to get behind Palestinians. Iran and Indonesia signed 5 documents to cooperate on energy, agriculture, commerce and academic activities. Afterwards, Ahmadinejad told reporters that all-out cooperation between Iran and Indonesia would benefit both nations and global peace and security. The president said Tehran and Jakarta share common stance on current developments in the Middle East region, including Palestine, Afghanistan and Iraq. He said Indonesia has adopted a legal and just stand on Iranian nuclear issue. With less than 3 days to go before the parliament elections, campaigning is in full swing all the way across Iran. Some 43.8 million of Iranians are eligible to vote in the upcoming parliamentary election on March the 14th nationwide. The State Organization for Personal Status says all the 18 years of age and above are eligible to vote for the 290-seat parliamentary election, in which about 4,500 candidates are running. Head of the Interior Ministry Information Center, Mohammad Hossein Musapour, says about 700,000 supervisors will be there in 45,000 polling stations to monitor the executive affairs of the March 14th vote. He also said the election results will be announced before the country rings in the new year on March 21st. Judiciary spokesman Ali Reza Jamshidi says election frauds and campaign violators will be seriously dealt with. He added prosecutors, along with the police all across the country, are obliged to help the judiciary to that end. The Guardian Council says it will send supervisory teams to ballot stations in each constituency to verify the proper enactment of the election law and protection of people's votes. Muslims boycott Danish goods. The boycott of Danish goods, called by Islamic countries to protest the publication of insulting cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad, is costing Danish businesses millions of dollars a day. Danish goods are threatened in 20 Muslim countries, representing $1.6 billion annually. Saudi Arabia began the boycott along with Jordan, Egypt, Maghreb, Tunisia, Afghanistan, Iran, Indonesia, Somalia, Lebanon, Yemen, Djibouti, and the Azerbaijan Republic.
The quartet's envoy to the Middle East, Tony Blair, met with Ahmed Kurea, the head of the Palestinian delegation overseeing the final status negotiations. The two leaders discussed ways to restart talks between Israel and the Palestinians. After his meeting with Blair, Kurea said that talks between the two sides can resume once a cooling-off period is reached and after Israel ends its aggressions.
In addition, Kurea said that a three-way meeting between the Palestinian Prime Minister, Israel's Defense Minister, and United States General William Fraser is scheduled to take place on Thursday to discuss the Palestinian and Israeli commitment to the roadmap for peace.
It's the return of diplomacy in a burning region, where the political winds of diplomatic maneuvers started to pick up speed. This news comes after the quartet's envoy met with the head of the Palestinian delegation overseeing the final status negotiations. This also coincided with a visit by the U.S. Special Envoy for Middle East Security, James Jones, to the region. The discussion was centered on the cooling-off period and ways to restart the stalled negotiations between Israel and the Palestinian Authority. However, the Palestinians laid down their conditions prior to resuming talks with Israel.
Reaching a cooling-off period and stopping the Israeli aggression may help restart the negotiations, God willing.
These new developments came after a visit by U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice to the region, where she stressed the importance of continuing talks between Israel and the Palestinian Authority. Rice reiterated the same message during her visit to Cairo. After that, David Walsh, one of Rice's senior aides, visited the Egyptian capital. Walsh's visit came amid secret talks between Egypt and two Palestinian delegations from the Islamic Jihad and Hamas, aimed at reaching a cooling-off period between the two movements and Israel.
His goal is to reassure people that the United States is committed to a vision of peace in the Middle East.
Furthermore, U.S. Vice President Dick Cheney is expected to visit the region soon. According to Bush, Cheney's goal is to reassure both sides in the conflict that Washington is committed to the vision of peace in the Middle East. Israel, which denied officially that it will stop its military operations in the Gaza Strip, met these diplomatic maneuvers by escalating its political campaigning on the ground. It seems that Israel is continuing its settlement campaign, as confirmed by Olmert, who announced plans to build a new Jewish settlement post in the West Bank. Meanwhile, Israel's Defense Minister Ehud Barak said that the military operations in the Gaza Strip will continue, which may jeopardize the diplomatic efforts aimed at reaching a ceasefire that can spare the residents of Gaza the anguish of death and destruction. More than 120 Palestinians have been martyred and hundreds of others were wounded during the latest Israeli raids on Gaza. In addition, the raids left behind massive property damage and inflicted high human casualty. However, all these raids have not forced the residents of Gaza to raise the white flags of surrender, according to Hamas.
كما تقول حماس وتؤكد.
عرضت الحركة الإسلامية في الداخل الفلسطيني خلال
During a press conference in occupied Jerusalem, the Islamic movement inside Palestine showed actual footage and disclosed dangerous information regarding the ongoing Israeli digging and tunneling under the noble sanctuary. The construction, which includes the digging of a tunnel under Al-Aqsa Mosque, came to the spotlight after an adjacent courtyard belonging to a Jerusalem resident caved in near the foundation of the mosque.
أنقذوا القدس أنقذوا المسجد الأقصى.
Under the slogan, Save Jerusalem, Save Al-Aqsa Mosque from demolition, the Islamic movement led by Sheikh Raed Saleh held a press conference at the Ambassador Hotel in Jerusalem. The Islamic movement showed actual footage of the Israeli construction, which included the digging and excavation being carried out under Al-Aqsa Mosque compound and the adjacent holy sites, which, if not stopped, will carry tragic and serious consequences to the mosque.
In this press conference and through this actual footage, we want to uncover a painful and a tragic campaign targeting Al-Aqsa Mosque. The Israeli Occupation Authority is carrying out an illegal and destructive campaign against the Holy Shrine. What we have seen today is only part of the crisis and not the whole picture, and the problem is much wider and more dangerous than this.
هذه الصور الخاصة لقناة العالم.
This exclusive footage for Al-Alam channel shows a tunnel being built under Al-Aqsa Mosque by the Israeli Occupation Authority. The discovery was made after an adjacent courtyard belonging to a Jerusalem resident caved in near the foundation of the mosque. The tunnel, as shown in this footage, is part of one of the most dangerous tunneling schemes being launched by Israel against the Holy Mosque. The tunnel, which is advancing deep under the mosque and adjacent to holy sites, includes the construction of hallways and rooms to provide accommodations for thousands of Jewish visitors and settlers.
Israel is trying to stir disorder and chaos in the holy city in order to seize control of Al-Aqsa Mosque and prevent worshippers from praying there. We must highlight this issue, especially considering that no one but the Council of Islamic Properties and Affairs has the right to maintain control over Muslim holy sites.
يذكر أن سلطات الاحتلال الإسرائيلي طرحت في الآونة.
The Israeli Occupation Authority has recently proposed a resolution dubbed the Face of Jerusalem, aimed at altering the city's features and eradicating its Islamic and Arab character. The project includes the construction of railroad tracks, bridges, tunnels, and Jewish synagogues. Throughout the years, many Muslim and Arab summits have been held on behalf of Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the first Muslim Qibla and the third noble sanctuary. However, no serious resolutions ever emerged. Amidst the smiles, handshakes, and the words of condemnation by Arab and Muslim leaders, the Israeli Authority continues to carry out one of its most dangerous excavation campaigns in an attempt to alter the features of the first Qibla and the third noble sanctuary. Khader Shaheen, Al-Alam, occupied Jerusalem.
Khader Shaheen, Al-Alam, القدس المحتلة.
Until the cooling-off period becomes an acknowledged reality, the residents of the Gaza Strip continue to do whatever they can to have their voices heard and relate their suffering to the world, which has closed its eyes so as not to see and plugged its ears so as not to hear. The residents of Gaza took out their animals in a march, protesting the siege imposed on them and the animals, in the hopes that animal rights groups will have mercy over its members and work to end the siege. The Israelis do what they want to people's lives, land and homes without accountability and without anyone blinking an eye. Our correspondent Zuhair Saqallah has the details in the following report.
These are not herds on the loose. Rather, they have gathered here for an important mission. They are relating a message to the world. Their greatest wish is that the message reaches the concerned parties. The message is being made in different languages, using various types of animals in the herd. However, they are all united in meaning enough of the Israeli siege on the Gaza Strip.
We do not have food. We are surrounded from the north and the east. We do not have any aid coming to us. We have been under blockade for almost 8 months.
We're bothered. We don't know what to do. For our part, we took out the animals. Maybe they will have mercy on us when they see this.
Citizens have used many ways to speak about the injustice of the Israeli siege. The results have always been the same. There is no one to appeal to. So there was no other way than to think in this way to attract attention to the Strip, where Israel can do what it wants without accountability. This may have place in the international community, which closes its eye to what is happening in Gaza. By the same token, they are innovative in the way they care for animals.
Today, the Gaza Strip has been under siege for 8 months. The world is not paying attention to all the marches and human appeals. We are here today to ask, can someone answer and pay attention to the animals of the Gaza Strip, which receive love, care, and affection in the world?
The tough situation in the Gaza Strip has resulted in an explosion of innovative and non-traditional ways of communicating that what is happening is intolerable by humans. When humans flee from one another, there is nothing left except for the animals to bear the greatest burden, to reject the siege, to protest, and go out to try to answer the appeals with the hopes in finding someone who listens.
Just like most Palestinians, these ones live their life with their share of suffering, depending on their luck. Their story of displacement has left them in the middle of the journey, where they had hoped to cross through Syria. However, their attempts have been transformed into a new camp, adding to the long list of refugee camps. The residents of Al-Walid camp, which is located in the Iraqi-Syrian border, are waiting for relief, and most of them are living a difficult life.
4 أحرف تصلح للتعبير عن كل أبعاد الحياة هنا. خيمة.
4 letters that are used to express all dimensions of life here. Tent. The tent is what separates the sand from the sky. They try hopelessly to give it another name. Welcome to the Al-Walid camp, which is located on the border crossing between Iraq and Syria. The hope to cross was covered by a tent whose pegs have been firmly set in the desert. The camp is 1 year and 2 months old. In December 2006, the Al-Walid camp was established, where 30 families took refuge in the beginning. Rapidly, this number increased and is now 445 and expected to rise. It's not surprising that the residents who have no choice but to stay in this desert will adapt. Here is the Noor restaurant. This is the camp's barber shop. It is also a produce shop.
وهذا حانوت حلاق المخيم ودكان الخضار أيضا.
I opened this coffee shop to help lift some of burdens off the people's shoulders. They can come sit and enjoy.
This camp is one of 3 similar places, all of which are located on the Iraqi-Syrian border. In addition to the Al-Walid camp, there is the Tanaf camp and the Hol camp in the Hasaka province. The setting is where pain and displacement mix. This dancing not only expresses some sort of joy, but also it is a way to kill time, which is filled with boredom. Meanwhile, the camp remains entrapped between a vast desert and a sky without borders.
Get more news about the Middle East online at linktv.org/mosaic. The Mosaic webpage offers a complete archive of Mosaic programs, program transcripts, the Mosaic video podcast, and the Mosaic Intelligence Report, a weekly analysis of the hottest stories from the Middle East. The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you. This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.